Rangers, and welcome to Ranger Review YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be going over managing invasive species inside national parks. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. Before we go into managing invasive species, I'm going to do a quick review and summary of what invasive species are to begin with. The first thing to know is that native species are organisms that occur in an area or ecosystem naturally through the natural process of how organisms move around the world. Non-native species are species that were introduced through non-natural or organic ways. Some of these include the domestic cow in the United States, for example, as well as bell peppers here. They're non-native species. So if we were to look at non-native species and then the little subcategories of non-native species, there is where we would find invasive species. Invasive species are specifically defined as non-native species that cause harm to the environment, economy, or human, animal, or plant health. It is often thought that the terms invasive and non-native can be used interchangeably, but they really can't, because non-native species don't necessarily cause harm to ecosystems, like the examples that I mentioned before. But invasive species do cause harm. These include feral swine, Burmese pythons, American bullfrogs on the western coast. There's so many examples of invasive species across the United States, which means that obviously they happen inside national parks. So the National Park Service has developed some tactics that they are using to try and protect national parks from the effects of invasive species. The first method is prevention. This is one of the most cost-effective and successful tactics of invasive species management found within the national parks. Prevention requires a deep knowledge of the specific animals that are being moved around and how to stop them. In fact, it's everyone's responsibility who enters a national park if prevention is obtainable or even possible. The next tactic is early detection or rapid response, also known as EDRR, and it is a technical term that is often used by invasive species managers. This tactic requires the regular monitoring of sites where invasive species may show up next. If an invasive species is detected, a pre-planned response goes into action to remove the species while there are still only a few individuals, and it's much easier to manage. And finally, there's long-term control and eradication. This tactic is for when EDRR and prevention fail. It's the last resort. This occurs after an invasive species is established at that site and can support a population over a long period of time. Sometimes this the goal is to completely eradicate the species, but where this is not possible, it's generally to try and manage or even remove the species. Long-term control and eradication are the most expensive tactics to be used, and they're also the least likely to be successful, especially compared to prevention and EDRR. However, the National Park Service knows that it is their responsibility to use all of their resources to protect a particular resource. And if that means long-term control or eradication, that's what they must do. If you would like to find out more about what you can do specifically to help with invasive species, I'll leave several links in the description down below. This will include learning about specific species individually and also what you can do for the prevention stage, which is a super important part that you must participate in. Well, everybody, that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and comment down below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to click that red subscribe button and the little bell next to it to always know when to post new videos. Thank you so much for watching again, and I shall see you next video. Bye!